Hello again, everyone. This is Caroline. Today's webcast is taking place on October 23rd, 2011. I hope everyone is having a good time checking out and witnessing all the amazing events on the planet. We might as well enjoy what is happening. Pretty extraordinary times. I will speak a little bit about that, and then we're going to do an amazing global meditation and healing. But before I begin, and also to allow a little bit more time for those who are still joining. So today, where are we? We're going to do a healing circle, like I said, in just a little bit. But before, a bit of a summary as to where we are, what's going on here, what is this planet doing, what are we doing, why are our bodies functioning and behaving the way they are. So for those who are joining for the first time today, I highly recommend you go back, because I started this series of webcasts in January, and there is a kind of evolving story here. We've been talking about the Earth grid being reconfigured and the implementation, the actual manifestation of a new grid system on the Earth happening this year, not next year. In fact, it is happening more precisely November 3rd and 4th. So, what does that mean? First of all, you need to understand what the grid system is and why this is so hugely important to understand what the Earth grid, what it does. But basically, again, to summarize this for those who are new, it is really about the reality that you experience, the fact that you are a human and you experience reality on the Earth the way you do. It is not an accident. It is because you are part of a grid system. This grid system allows light information, light, sound, electromagnetic frequency to arrive to your physical brain in a particular way. In fact, your physical brain is correlated with the configuration of this new Earth grid. So, you have a human experience because you have a grid system around the Earth. When you go to Mars, you will have another experience, which will be a Martian experience, I suppose, because there's another grid around that planet. And so, the fact that we've had this experience the last several thousand years on the Earth is because the Earth grid had been kind of moved around or positioned in a particular way, and that is why the experience on the Earth has been this way, the way you have been experiencing it. But what is happening is that, of course, there has been a huge call from humanity, asking for changes, asking for the implementing of a new frequency, a new configuration, a new reality on all levels that is consistent with the universal blueprint that has to do with freedom, with love, with truth, with beauty, with goodness. That is the true a reality that is meant to be observed and experienced on every planet. And so, because of this call, there is a new grid system that is now appearing on the Earth. So, of course, for those who have read the book, The Divine Plan Beyond 2012, I talk about this in detail to explain how this grid system truly works and how it is affecting our new DNA. And so what is happening is that the arrival and the implementation and the manifestation of this new Earth grid system is going to completely transform reality on the Earth. Of course, this does not happen in one day. Nothing happens in one day, in fact, because it is a multidimensional reality. So it's not that on November 3rd and 4th, in one day, all aspects of reality will change on that day. It doesn't work this way. But what happens on November 3rd and 4th, there is a locking in. It's as if the new Earth grid system is now locked into place. Basically, this is the no turning back. You cannot turn back from that point on to the old paradigm, to the old system. That is what this means. So, the implication of that, or the side effect, so to speak, of that, is that you will begin to truly experience the new reality through your physical brain, because your physical brain is also going to lock into that new position. This new position will allow you to absorb and receive higher frequencies. A new electromagnetic spectrum will become more available to you, so to speak. So if you have not been working through this, if you have not been raising your vibration, if you have not been connecting to Source, if you have not been even aware of all of these major changes, you may be a little bit struggling with those this new information coming through. But if you have been doing a little bit of that work, then what's going to happen is you will feel connected more than ever before, starting on those days. I did not say only on those days. Starting on those days, you will feel a lot more ease in retrieving information, universal information. You will have a lot more clarity in the things that maybe things that have been confusing to you. You will have more spontaneous healings. These types of things will begin to happen as of this day. So don't call me on November 5th saying I'm not experiencing these things. I'm saying, please understand, this is multidimensional reality that will continue to develop in this way. So, the significance of this event is that this new grid system being locked into position will no longer allow the old paradigm to exist. This is huge. Do you realize that the current governmental system, the current educational system, the current scientific information, all of this is part of the old paradigm? And what's going to happen starting November is that this old paradigm cannot function anymore, because it's as if you've created a new reality that is not consistent with the old paradigm. And so everything is going to have to change. So the implications in a physical or in a 3D or in a material, from a material or practical point of view, is that you will continue to see changes on all levels. How could you not see the tremendous changes happening on a political level since the beginning of this year? I talked about global governmental collapses around the world in my book that was written in 2005. I said that many governments are going to have to step down to go down or collapse or give way to new forms of government, because they will not be able to stay in position anymore. And so we have seen, it's been kind of surreal actually since the beginning of this year, to witness how one government after another, one country after another has been claiming, demanding that their government, their existing governmental structure be changed. And so we are now looking at something very extraordinary, that a domino effect that is occurring on all, in a global manner. This is not just about one country. This is not about the Mideast. This is not about Greece. This is a global movement, an awakening, and we are observing it in a very obviously clear, material, 3D way on a political level, of course. And so What this means is that as of November, this will continue to escalate. In fact, will kind of speed up even. I also mentioned for those who have been listening to this webcast a couple of months ago that as of this fall in the U.S., we will also start to see these political movements. And we certainly have been witnessing right now in the U.S., it looks a little bit kind of confused or not so clear. But very soon, maybe in 3-4 months, the movement, the political movements that are happening in New York City and a little bit everywhere will start to get very clear, very, very specific. The demands will start to be much, much more precise than what we are seeing right now. And this will continue to escalate as a global movement to disallow the old, really very tired, very, very misled governmental system that is based on greed and the lack of truth. And so all of this will begin to dissolve. It has to dissolve to give way to the new paradigm. So I am just pointing out the things that everyone can see. We can just turn on the TV and see these things. But if you understand that these things could not have happened if you don't have an energetic structure in place to allow this to happen. So what I'm saying is this is happening because of the earth grid system that is in place. Do you see what I'm talking about here? So the invisible part that you cannot see, not yet anyway, is the implementation, the positioning of this new earth grid. And what you observe, which is the political movement, the economy, or what have you, this is the byproduct, this is the result of that energetic positioning of the earth grid. And so, in addition to that, of course, some of the plates will be moving around, but do you realize that all of this is for to elevate the earth from the old place where it was stuck in a very separated, isolated place into a new configuration? This new configuration will reconnect the Earth on all levels with the rest of the galaxy and the universe. This is the most awaited time for millennia. If you were a visitor from another dimension or another part of the universe, you would see, or you would understand that this moment on the Earth is very, very unique and very extraordinary. And you are part of this time. There's a reason why you have chosen to show up as a human at this particular time. There's a reason why you are coming together today. There's a reason why you are coming together today to understand what the earth grid is and how that affects reality. Because you are shifting this reality, you are asking for this new reality, you are demanding that this new reality that is based on love, truth, beauty, goodness be finally implemented right here on the earth. So I'm here to tell you this is really the beginning of a very successful story, as much as we are still seemingly observing some difficult moment. How could we not see that? Of course. So we could look at it. The reason why I'm explaining all of these things is that so that you can put these things into perspective. If you look around and you see chaos and you feel chaos, and you don't have the bigger picture in mind, then you come to the conclusion that this is the end of the world and things are collapsing and it's not getting better and so on and so forth, which is really the perspective of many people. But if you understand that this is coming from beyond the human configuration, this is coming from a universal, from a very, very large consciousness coming to elevate the earth and humanity to this new paradigm. assist in the manifestation of a new paradigm, then you will put these events that seem to be chaotic into a different perspective, and you start to focus on this other perspective, and will bring you a lot more peace and a lot more clarity, so that you can feel a lot better and navigate through these changes and also help others. So that is the purpose of me sharing all this information. And what's going to continue to happen, some of the things that you will be observing will more probably next year. I want to say maybe as of March or maybe the spring of next year, some of the manifestation, or again, the side effects, the byproduct of this new positioning of the Earth grid and the new paradigm, the new reality starting to really come up is on a scientific level. What's going to happen is that just like we've seen what is happening on a political level, we're going to begin to see the scientific structure that is currently on the Earth begin to collapse. And that's going to be quite interesting. What this means is that science is currently based on the premise that earthly reality, material life, is finite. And so mathematics, the laws of physics, chemistry that are currently on the earth, meaning mainstream science, is based on a premise that all human physical reality, earthly reality, is finite. And so 1 + 1 = 2. It can never, ever, ever equal 3, because that is what finite means. And so what's going to happen is that with the presence of this new energetic reality, which is what the Earth grid is going to begin to provide, some of these scientific revelations are going to start to come through, and we're going to start to see some scientific or some scientists or what have you disclose that some of the information that has been presented to humanity for years and years at a time is actually false. Not in the sense that it was, deceitful or done on purpose, but simply that there's another version of the story, that it is possible that 1 + 1 could equal 3 under certain circumstances. And if that is the case, then it could also equal 4 and 5 under certain circumstances. And if this is not making any sense to you at all, I guess you will see what I mean next year when we start to have these revelations come through. What I'm trying to say, to generalize, to really summarize this, because I really want to get to the global connection, to the prayer very quickly. But let me just finish my thought here. What this means is that there is everything, biology, physics, like I said, all science, even cosmology, is based on something that is finite, that begins, that ends, that dies. It's the end of it. But what's going to happen is that there will be evidence that the human cell, for example, doesn't ever have to die. And so it is a belief system that is making the reality look and appear the way it does. And as much as science says, look, but we are observing even in nature that things are created, they look and behave a certain way, and then they have to die. And that is the cycle of material reality. And what's going to happen is there will be new evidence that this was a presupposed premise, that it doesn't have to be this way, that even physical reality, not only your physical cells, but even physical reality, meaning the cells of a tree, the cells of the soil, the cells of a carrot or what have you, all physical reality does not have to ever be finite. To be continued, really. This is a huge topic, but I'm just giving you a hint. An idea of what is yet to come. With this locking in of the new Earth grid, a new paradigm has to be born. So the physical evidence of that, like I said, since the beginning of this year, can be observed everywhere on a political level, the economy. You'll just wait and see how all areas of reality will follow the political movement that we are observing everywhere. So again, I hope you are realizing that this is all good news. This means that we've been praying and asking for years and years and years. And you, on many different levels, as a parallel aspect, as a past life, or what have you, we've been begging for a reality on the earth that is consistent with unconditional love, with peace, with truth, and that is finally beginning to materialize. Very, very important to hold that perspective, hold that vision. Never allow yourself to be dragged into the fear or the confusion, there's still chaos, there's still this. Of course, there's a bit of chaos. Of course, there's quite a bit of chaos. Of course, there's some movement on all levels, but it is for that purpose. So the idea is for you to hold the vision of what you are creating. You are creating a paradigm of beauty, a paradigm of love, a paradigm of coherence. I'm talking about energetic coherence with the blueprint of the universal design. All right, so we're going to continue to talk about this in the next webcast. And of course, I talk about this in all the classes. There's so much time. So I'm going to stop right here, and we will continue next time, just so that we can move on to the healing circle right now.